Recently, the Pakistani politics have been playing on a high as the urgent leaving of Khan's leaving the Prime Minister's house with the substitution of Shahbaz as the new face of Prime Minister. Amid this chaos of replacement, the dethroning of Imran Khan as the Prime Minister and Shahbaz Sharif being the new Prime Minister led to complete disarray in the Youth Foundation. On the other hand, not to say the rest are with the PMLN, yet the only option left in the arsenal of establishment for formation of a new government was giving the power back to PMLN, being the second biggest political party in comparison with Khan's PTI and an active opposition member. Wait, did we just say establishment forming a new government? That's debatable. You know why? The recent audio leak of army personnel justifies that the dethroning of Imran Khan's government is not by army, is rather due to Imran Khan's own poor governance and suspicion in a case named foreign funding. This could be comprehended with so many reasons, such as PTI's government lack of awareness in realizing that though the country is going through good times as far as the finance market and the government treasure is concerned, the chaos and image defamation it is causing, specifically talking about the defamation of army due to no security given by the PTI government. To PTI, I feel they only expected or expect, like many others, security from army only, like many other governments, security from the army only. Less to know, the government needed to defend the federal government by securing its image, and rightly so in this case of the Pakistan Army, which is considered among world best armies. The army personnel in an audio leak says to another chief, "We told Khan that he is an excellent leader, but his team is not good enough." This also is a reply to Khan's question when he said, "We had good relations with establishment. I don't know what happened and what went wrong." To mention in the call that it was by no means army being the reason for Khan's dethroning, rather the case of funding referred as foreign funding releases. It is also important here to talk about this case referring to foreign funding from other countries. Often did we see Khan going for a foreign aid or foreign fund. We always hear Imran Khan talking about the personal standing of the country without any IMF funding. Why it is important to discuss this here is the fact being living in his time we personally felt an increase in the economic market for the right reasons, being educated enough Khans, well aware of these times, being the exposure of abroad, inspiration is what they are all about. Look at the streets of London or any other developing countries. Once you see a bag of trash left like that on the road, rather you'd see people throwing in bins. And just not the morality of people so high that they actually don't throw it on roads like people in Pakistan do, but the fact that their government stepped first before them to form those bins for them so they use them. This gesture government is enough to instill morality in the people of the country. In such times of high developmental think tank like Imran Khan being the prime minister, there was well drive in the economy, and for those reasons, I believe how could foreign funding then not be covered up by the one who talks about taking Pakistan out of the previous steps that would steal foreign aid like that without turning it over and return it. This is the reason why Khan is really a strong mind in the development of Pakistan, yet the talk is about his team and their relations then with the establishment. Not to say Khan's word, his team members should listen to him and understand him more than the crowd. They should understand and implement more than the crowd. Why? Because that's the vision of their leaders, and the vision of their government is what better could they do with the government is by sticking in with the leader's vision. Yet we see many don't even know what Khan's vision is. Orthodox enough, they are waiting for Khan's call as if someone comes and tells you it's time to drink water. Does Khan know about your stomach being empty, yet he comes and says it's time to eat, or you know you are hungry and you can eat without Khan's call? See, there are some things you need to do by yourself because that's why you have been recruited for that position you are being recruited on to professionally work and not just get and throw, rather improvise. If you could come up with something better, yeah, you can, can't you? Yeah, you can. Can't you? Like the ones who are coming up and telling you to do it. Why are you even employed there? The thing is, the one you're gonna call and ask for a friend to tell you an answer, and there is an answer that lies with you. Maybe the answer, maybe your answer is right, and if we suppose, as compared to that one you phone a friend, so what that shows and commands is the belief in self. And if we suppose in this case of Khan giving the command, it must be the right command. The kind of person he is, if he fully listens to the concern. But do you think you should entangle the PM in such trivial matters, though they are not, and are matters of high concern, and you are in the position to deal with them, so you know your position. It's good, right, not to disturb the PM for that. You'd say the same thing, or maybe not if you are the PM pleaser. The thing is, when you come into the government, it's not about yourself or your party, it's about the country. It was about the country for Khan before coming into the power as well, but never was it for its team. The team of PTI was formed how it is filling in the space and the kind of security army required from the government by protecting their forces and by lessening the democratic phenomenon away little. This could only happen not by just by decreasing the focus for money, but the efforts the focus was bringing. The effects were the government was playing blind their representatives for professional and educational sake. As far as the eligibility is concerned, you are hired, but when it's time to perform, theory needs to be implemented as opposed to explanation. Yes, an explanation with theory soaked in is different from this, and the way it was these times when people started raising their voices and fingers upon the army of the country. Army, on the other hand, expected Khan and Khan's government to be their backbone politically and to be answerable for army's security at any cost. However, allies of Khan holding the government failed to recognize this important need of the army, the result of which was the army had to go through a kind of spur of civil war by the people of the country due to some mismanagement by the government. These errors were of great importance because of the fact that they were based on one thing, and that was the production of money, no matter if they come at a price of losing self worth and respect. The country and its heads, including the establishment and the people, all are happy for the well being of the economy, but wait at the cost of selling and losing your self respect due to lack of knowledge and information, rather just one heat in heads, and that's money. Uh, Here I remember one thing that I mentioned, so that's why I'm saying it here. So, uh, it may not remain for later. Is that also uh, Khan's getting married to Jemima is also having some kind of relation with the status honors on, and from that status basically comes a lot of influential uh, influential support when you are at such a position of a stakeholder. So yeah, that to mention. And continuing with that, it was just one heat in head, and that's money. The PTI members, the lower staff, actively became and put themselves in with Indian media on television shows that seem only thing that they are here for is what streaming would make. Would you get my point? That they were only there to actually, and in that zone out they would just forget and lose themselves, and the Indians would dismantle their state. An army, by calling ISI chief Hamid Faz as one Taliban head, actively working in alliance with Afghanistan to do with some other country. Indian speakers in this program spoke with quite some information and knowledge, and they molded all that information into comprehension, taking in the moments and smashing the Pakistani speakers ever so delicately with influence, authority, and pulling one of their candidates as well. They would take the moment and take the lead at any moment they want, while Pakistani speakers on the other end are there to be peaceful by being illiterate and not intelligent. The only thing the Pakistani journalists were reflecting on Indian media was nationalism and patriotism at any cost. Of course, they also do, but they not my first. No sense of the question and how well there are ways to deal with it. No sense of any defense or defense. Indian journalism actually throws some hegemony of information at one Pakistani female journalist, which was able to defend by the woman journalist with proper defense of information. What we see in the woman being alluring in the moment of dominions by the Indian journalist by choosing the wrong choice of words, saying the thing, but the way of saying it is actually giving its opposite reflection. This is what a manipulated word is, the result of which we see the Indian speakers actually concluding what he wanted to conclude and take out all that he wants to take from these Pakistani journalists willingly, and they will unwillingly give that falsehood a signature for truth, a chance to declare itself as truth. What were they so intimidated by and from? No, they were just not there, unprofessional, not eligible. The example of Khan is just like that man in the cricket team who says he would do it all. Like current days, we see Babar and Rizwan being doing cricket from quite some times. Now, as the middle order has been performing, we see in the last match against New Zealand. However, the fact that being a winning leader, your duties are just not to win the match but to produce match winners. How many days would you go on winning it for Pakistan unless you make match winners who go on that make match winners who do it after you? Tell me a single person in your party who has the kind of information, vision that you are having, Mr. Khan. And I'm talking about your vision. And also to say that how you made leaders in cricket who would go on to win the match. You can do that in the politics also. No one, and why is that? It's because the likewise understands the vision, and also you're talking about that program, the Canadian one, which talks about the stakeholders who were connecting with are just forgetting the name of that. Well, no one. And why is that? It's because the likewise understands the vision. The like-minded understands the mind. In other words, a visionary understands a visionary. Your job only was to set up and furnish your team, yet you kept yourself busy with the finance much. When people are making huge profits but derailing their self respect, remember, for huge profits. When people are making huge profits by derailing their self respect, remember, for huge profits.